In this lesson, we'll cover system families. So, what is a system family? Well, a system family can be duct systems, piping systems, conduits, electrical systems, anything that has multiple elements, components inside of that actual system. So, for example, if we wanted to create a duct system, you would have different pieces of duct work in that duct system. A system has to be defined in Revit first. So looking at my project browser in the lower left, if I scroll down to families and expand families, you'll see the different systems. So I have duct systems, which I mentioned. I also can scroll down to see I have piping systems, and you have conduit or anything else that you have loaded inside of your current Revit project. Now, if a system isn't currently defined, before you can actually make the run of ductwork or the run of piping, you have to actually define that system. That system also has to have fittings assigned to that system. For example, if we wanted to create a ductwork system, I can see within duct system, I have duct systems defined for exhaust, return, and supply. And double click on each one of these will actually show me the graphic presence or overview of how this would actually be visualized, color and line type for the system being displayed. Now the fittings have to be assigned to a system as well. So looking at my ducts, I would expand ducts and I can see I have different families of ducts loaded. Let's expand the actual rectangular duct family and look at the actual family files for those. If I pick on the first one, mitered elbows taps, just double click that, it'll open a new window and I see the actual type now is the mitered elbow taps, but I can see the family it belongs to is the system family for rectangular ducts. So it has to belong to a system family. Now the settings I see on my screen control the system and how the ductwork goes together. To see that, I can click on the edit button to the right of fittings. And this is where everything is defined for me of how this duct system would go together using other family files and components. Now, this is important because if you don't start with a template or a project template, a lot of this has to be manually configured. So best practice would be to start with a family template. So to see this in action, to see this actually work, if you go to the Systems tab, click on Duct, they'll now present you with the properties of the duct, and in that property dropdown, you can choose what ductwork you want to use. In this case, I'm going to use the default radius elbows with T's. And then my justification can be set as well in the properties and reference level and what height above that reference level I'm going to draw these. You can also set the same variables on the options bar across the top. For this example, I'm just going to create a simple S run of ductwork, and not really particular in length or in direction. So I'm just going to start by clicking on the left, dragging my mouse to the right. Since I'm middle justified and center justified, I see that's where I'm holding the ductwork. I'll drag it out a distance to the right, click again, start to drag my ductwork down, click again, and then drag out to the right. And as you click, making these turns, you can actually see the elbows are created using those radius mitered elbows. And then to exit out of this, just click Modify in the upper left. Now, I was able to draw this because they're associated to a system. So all of these fittings belong to a system, so they know how to interact with each other. To see the properties of each, simply just single click on each element and you'll see that in the properties area on the left. Likewise, for the fittings on the elbows, in this case, that rectangular radius elbow, if I click on it, I see the data for it as well. So as a review for this lesson, we covered system families. And the importance is the system families have to be present before you can actually start designing your systems. The systems have to contain family files or fittings. The best way is to start a project with a template that already has these systems predefined, and then you can just add in new family files or content components as you choose and assign them to the actual systems.